Everyone has wondered what it would feel like to become the person everyone fears but almost nobody ever sees. Movies make the life of a mafia hitman look exciting, glamorous, and filled with endless money. The reality is far less glamorous. It is a life built on discipline, secrecy, constant pressure, and the knowledge that one careless decision could end everything. Long before anyone trusts you with dangerous work, you spend years proving something even more valuable than bravery. You prove loyalty. Every small assignment becomes another opportunity for powerful people to judge whether you follow orders without hesitation and whether you can keep secrets that could destroy the entire organization. Your first jobs seem completely harmless. You deliver sealed envelopes, wait inside parked cars for hours, transport mysterious packages, and observe unfamiliar buildings without asking why. The organization already knows the answers. They only care whether you obey instructions exactly as they were given. Every assignment teaches the same lesson. Someone is always watching. Senior members quietly notice whether you arrive on time, remain calm under pressure, avoid unnecessary conversations, and disappear without attracting attention. In this world, your reputation is built silently, one successful mission at a time. Eventually, the atmosphere changes. You are invited into a private office instead of a warehouse. A photograph is placed on the desk. A location is mentioned. The room becomes completely silent. Nobody says the word murder. Inside the organization, they simply call it taking care of business. From the moment you accept the assignment, your daily routine changes completely. Every street feels different. Every parked vehicle catches your attention. Every security camera reminds you that someone else may be watching just as carefully as you are. Living cautiously is no longer optional. It becomes your normal way of thinking. Popular movies often show hitmen acting on impulse, but organizations value patience far more than aggression. Careful planning reduces risk, protects the group, and avoids unnecessary attention. Every decision is expected to be deliberate rather than emotional. Preparation usually lasts much longer than people imagine. Days are spent learning routines, recognizing familiar faces, identifying entrances and exits, and understanding the environment. The objective is to eliminate surprises because unexpected situations are often the greatest threat to any operation. Human habits quickly become predictable. The same coffee shop, the same commute, the same conversations. Patterns reveal themselves when someone watches long enough, teaching an important lesson about how routine can quietly expose anyone's daily life. At the same time, you are expected to avoid creating your own predictable routine. You vary your routes, change your schedule, and remain aware of your surroundings. The goal is to make yourself difficult to anticipate while constantly observing everything around you. Much of the work involves waiting rather than action. Hours can pass with nothing happening at all. Remaining patient becomes a skill of its own, because acting too early often creates unnecessary problems that careful planning could have avoided. During long periods of waiting, your mind becomes your biggest challenge. You begin questioning every detail, replaying every instruction, and wondering whether you overlooked something important. Mental discipline becomes just as valuable as physical preparation. The people giving orders expect professionalism above everything else. They reward reliability, consistency, and discretion. Someone who attracts attention or ignores instructions quickly loses the confidence of those above them. In this environment, trust is difficult to earn and easy to lose. Outside that hidden world, ordinary life continues as usual. Families eat dinner together, commuters rush home from work, and neighborhoods remain busy. Existing between those two realities creates constant pressure, because you must appear completely ordinary while carrying extraordinary secrets. One of the greatest misconceptions is that fear eventually disappears. It does not. Instead, experienced people learn how to manage it, stay focused, and continue making careful decisions despite the pressure. That ability often separates those who last from those who make costly mistakes. Over time, you realize that the greatest weapon in this life is not strength. It is self-control. Speaking too much, showing off, or trying to impress people only creates unnecessary attention. and attention is something everyone in the organization tries to avoid. You begin living two separate lives. To neighbors and strangers, you appear completely ordinary. Behind closed doors, however, every meeting feels serious, every conversation feels guarded, and every decision carries consequences that reach far beyond yourself. Loyalty is constantly tested. Rumors spread, alliances shift, and people quietly watch how others react under pressure. In an environment built on secrecy, trust is never assumed. It must be earned again and again. The longer you remain involved, the smaller your world becomes. Old friendships slowly disappear, personal relationships become difficult to maintain, and everyday conversations feel impossible, because so much of your life can never be discussed openly. Constant caution changes the way you think. A loud noise makes you look twice. An unfamiliar face becomes memorable. Even simple routines like shopping or walking through a crowded street require far more awareness than most people ever experience. Sleep rarely feels completely restful. Your mind keeps replaying conversations, decisions, and unanswered questions. Even during quiet moments, it becomes difficult to fully relax because uncertainty is always somewhere in the background. The outside world often assumes that power automatically brings happiness. In reality, influence and fear are very different from peace of mind. Respect earned through intimidation usually comes with loneliness instead of comfort. As responsibilities increase, expectations increase as well. People assume you will remain dependable, composed, and discreet no matter how stressful the situation becomes. Mistakes that once seemed small now carry much greater consequences. Eventually, you realize that the lifestyle itself becomes the greatest burden. It demands your attention every day, shaping your habits, your relationships, and even the way you see ordinary life around you. There is never a true day off from constant vigilance. Looking back, the glamorous image that first captured your imagination has completely disappeared. What remains is a demanding existence defined by secrecy, pressure, isolation, and the constant responsibility of living with choices that can never truly be taken back. One lesson becomes impossible to ignore. In this world, information is often more valuable than money. Knowing who is connected to whom, who can be trusted, and who is quietly changing sides can determine whether you stay one step ahead or walk directly into danger. Meetings rarely happen in obvious places. Conversations take place in quiet restaurants, empty parking lots, or private offices where everyone speaks carefully and watches every reaction. Even a simple discussion feels like a silent test of confidence and awareness. Nobody wants unnecessary attention. Flashy behavior, expensive displays of wealth, or acting untouchable only attracts curious eyes. The people who last the longest usually blend into everyday life so well that nobody remembers seeing them at all. Even successful operations do not bring celebration. There are no victory speeches or public recognition. Instead, life moves forward immediately because drawing attention to yesterday's events only creates tomorrow's problems. The work remains hidden, and so are the people involved. After enough years, you begin measuring success differently. It is no longer about earning more money or gaining more influence. Success simply means surviving another day without making the mistake that changes everything forever. With experience comes another realization. The greatest danger is rarely the unexpected stranger. More often, it comes from overconfidence. The moment you believe nothing can go wrong is usually the moment your judgment begins to fail.
Every decision becomes a calculation. Which route is the safest? Which meeting place draws the least attention? Which choice creates the fewest unnecessary risks? Living this way slowly turns careful thinking into an everyday habit. You also learn that patience consistently outperforms urgency. Rushing into any situation often creates avoidable problems, while waiting for the right moment usually provides clearer information and better options. Time becomes one of your most valuable resources. Eventually, you begin noticing details that most people completely ignore. A vehicle parked in the same place 2 days in a row, a face appearing in different locations, a door left slightly open. Constant observation changes the way you experience the world forever. Looking back, you realize that the life is not built on excitement nearly as much as responsibility. Every day demands discipline, restraint, and careful judgment. The glamorous image fades away, replaced by the reality that living under constant pressure is far more exhausting than most people could ever imagine. In the end, the greatest cost is not measured in money. It is measured in the ordinary moments you stop enjoying. A peaceful walk, a quiet dinner, or an evening with friends never feels completely carefree again, because part of your mind is always scanning the world around you. You discover that fear never truly disappears. Instead, it becomes quieter and more controlled. Experience teaches you how to think clearly under pressure, but it never convinces you that danger has vanished. Staying alert becomes second nature. Looking from the outside, people may only notice confidence. They never see the years of discipline, restraint, and constant awareness that created it. What appears effortless is usually the result of countless careful decisions made over a very long time. Eventually, you realize the biggest illusion was believing this life was about power. The reality is that it is about living within limits, managing pressure, and accepting that every choice carries consequences. The freedom you imagined slowly gives way to constant responsibility. That is why the real story is so different from the movies. Behind every dramatic legend is a demanding life shaped by caution, secrecy, sacrifice, and the understanding that lasting peace is often far more valuable than living in the shadows. Perhaps the biggest surprise is discovering that the lifestyle is far less about action than endurance. Day after day, the real challenge is managing pressure, staying disciplined, and making careful decisions without allowing stress to take control of your judgment. Looking back on the journey, the excitement that once seemed so appealing has almost completely disappeared. In its place is a clearer understanding that every secret, every difficult decision, and every day spent looking over your shoulder carries a price that few people ever consider. The lesson extends beyond organized crime. Any life built on fear, deception, or constant pressure slowly consumes the freedom it promises. Lasting success is difficult to enjoy when peace of mind is always slipping further away. That is why the reality is so different from the legend. The stories people admire often leave out the isolation, the endless caution, and the emotional weight carried every single day. When the glamour fades away, those hidden costs become impossible to ignore. In the end, what it is actually like to be a mafia hitman is not a tale of glamour or limitless power. It is a story about living under relentless pressure, where caution replaces comfort, and every decision reminds you that actions always carry consequences. Stories like this remind us that the image presented in films is only a small piece of a much larger picture. The real lesson is not about admiring a dangerous lifestyle, but about understanding how fear, secrecy, and constant pressure can slowly consume the ordinary parts of life that most people take for granted. If exploring the hidden reality behind famous roles, secret organizations, and misunderstood lifestyles is something you enjoy, then there are many more fascinating stories waiting to uncover what everyday life is really like behind the headlines and the Hollywood versions. And if you enjoy uncovering the truth behind jobs, cultures, and lifestyles that